is Joe, and I'm about to present an adaptation that I made to this toy Nerf gun here. So initially I'd like to start out just by introducing some of the materials that I'd use to complete the adaptation, specifically demonstrate the adaptation, and then also to a couple of different disabilities that this could apply to and how it could accommodate the functional limitations and deficits associated with those. And then lastly, demonstrate how this toy can be utilized as I mimic those specific disabilities. So just a simple toy Nerf gun here, approximately $12, can be purchased at Meijer. What we see here in purple and green, this is 2-inch thick foam insulation, often used in homes. This was scrap material I used around the house here, but I did look up on Menards website, and you can purchase an 8 by 10 foot sheet for approximately $10, so relatively inexpensive. This black object right here, that's just a simple zip tie, approximately 10 cents. Poked 2 little holes through the foam here and wrapped it around the bottom of the foam and then up around the top of the toy gun to zip it together, so to help create added stability. Another little foam block chunk that I cut out and put under here to reinforce the upper part of it. And then to the handle of the toy gun, I carved out a piece of the foam here so the handle is actually recessed down into the actual foam here. So what we see is a pretty sturdy object here, and that could take some jarring, etc. That's one of the great things about this foam, is that it is durable and it is sturdy, but at the same time it can be carved and molded quite easily with a simple kitchen knife. So we see here is another piece of foam just simply glued on top of this base here with just regular home glue that worked just fine for that. In blue here, that's actually a bendies that I used, that I had. So I'm sure a lot of you have at least seen these, if not utilized these in fieldwork or clinical practice. So just a little fidget tool. It worked very nicely and is very pliable for molding around the trigger here portion of this toy Nerf gun. Took just a little 2-inch piece of wire from an actual old clothes hanger that I snipped off and just poked it through the foam here, and then also through the ends of the bendies to create a loop here. And this is going to be my track that I'm going to slide back and forth, which will actually pull the trigger to activate the gun here. This entire piece here is fastened down to this tabletop with wood clamps. I envisioned using duct tape would work just fine in most instances, and I actually created this thinking that an individual in a wheelchair that had a tabletop on their wheelchair, that we could duct tape this portion to the tabletop, and this portion right here could actually hang off the front of the chair, and it could almost mimic like a tank in that respect. That's simply describing the materials here. Now, a specific disability, I had a couple of guys from field work in mind when I created this, with cerebral palsy, and with that lacking the fine motor movements and abilities, and also 2 of the contractures of the hand. In order to operate this without an adaptation, one would have to isolate the index finger and then flex the index finger, and also 2, while doing that, hold fingers 2 through 4 in a static flexion position in order to hold and secure the gun. So if you're lacking fine motor movement, you would not be able to otherwise operate this gun. So to create more of a gross motor component to this, if somebody can at least have flexion of the elbow, be able to flex the elbow to pull this block back on this track here, or 2, flexion of the neck to pull the block back with their chin. So cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy would be another one, or simply paresis or weakness, and also 2, quadriplegia with some head and neck movement. So anyways, just simply demonstrating here before I actually show this, this does shoot little Nerf darts, so we want to be very cautious, and parental supervision should be monitored at all times while a child is using this. Nobody should be standing in the direct line of fire of this too, because it does shoot them out quite quickly. The darts, though, are made out of foam, and they would not scuff any walls or break any objects unless it's extremely fragile. So we could even set up a target and then aim for that to kind of make it more fun in that respect. So plus 2, a parent would need to be available to reload the gun after all of the darts have been shot out, and also to turn it on and off. So if I simply flick a switch here to turn it on, so if all I had was flexion of the elbow, I could simply flex it like that in order to then you see the darts coming out, or my chin, and you could see darts once again coming out there as well. So for our intents and purposes, I think this actually works pretty good. I had a lot of fun making this. think it's a great adaptation once again for those specific disabilities. I know I really enjoyed using Nerf guns when I was younger, and so therefore this could be an enjoyable toy that could mimic in some ways like switch activated devices that we've discussed in class without that electronic component. So thank you for viewing, and I hope we all learned something. Thank you.